ahead and introduce Navanethan and Saraswati. They are senior product managers on Places, and they'll walk you through the demo of the space analytics.
Thank you, Vivian. I'll take it from here. Good morning, good evening, folks. Myself, Navanethan. Call me Nav during the Q&A session. Just light up my slide. Myself, Nav, and I have Saraswati here, who's going to be co-presenting with me. And I have my team from design and engineering team assembled here for anything and everything about Places Analytics as a product. Just double-clicking on the agenda which Vivian shared. This is a general introduction that I've already done. Today, we will do two things, right? Half the time we'll be spending a little bit on space analytics walkthrough, which is going to be a deck walkthrough. And then we'll spend about 15 minutes on demo. If we need to more, we can do more of demo as well. And we'll spend a considerable amount of time in Q&A. And at the end, we can do a quick survey. So probably this is what at the outset we're going to do today. I'll directly jump into the topic. Again, going a little bit deep on the goals today. Today, we're going to focus a lot on space analytics capabilities. And we're going to talk about what are the product functionalities available within the product. We'll show it in the slide as well as we'll show it in the demo as well. And finally, we'll end up with questions. We'll start with how space analytics as a product fits into the whole narrative of Places, right? You might have already got demo from some of the other pillars over here, like coordinate and modernize. So the idea of Places is to help hybrid work a better experience for everybody involved in the workspace, right? We start by saying that, hey, how do we bring people back to work and how do we bring in energy to the buildings that people are already owning, right? Coordinate is the particular pillar which helps us solve using work plans and ton of other features, which helps bring people back to offices, which helps them plan better on when do they want to come to office. And modernize is the next pillar. The moment people come to office, do they get the right experiences in the workspace, right? So people are coming in for a specific purpose. These days, people come in for collaboration or focus work or mix of both. The purpose is not yet fully established, but they came in for a specific purpose. And the expectation from the real estate and the facilities team is to provide all the amenities which satisfies the purpose, right? The purpose is not satisfied. People are not going to come back again to the buildings. So the next big chunk of the product capabilities is around giving these modern solutions, which is going to elevate the hybrid experiences when people come to office. And finally, once they start visiting, there'll be a lot of fluctuations people would be encountering in terms of how people are coming to buildings and what they do in these buildings, right? So Optimize is a pillar which is curated to help you understand what's happening in these buildings in a much more data-centric manner so that you can look at the data and make your real estate decisions. There are two things that we are really looking at here. Number one, how do we help people understand the usage of the spaces within the enterprise world? And number two, how do we help people understand the customer sentiment on these spaces, right? These two are the major objectives. Although our focus at this point of time is on the first bucket, where we want to help people understand what's happening in these buildings to start with. Now, yeah, before getting into the story itself, right, I want to quickly understand the population here, right? The audience here. I believe this is a diverse set of audience. So I want to quickly understand the role of people who have assembled here so that I can curate my presentation accordingly. Fayaz, can you quickly short that single question survey on the roles, please? Shreya, just if you can give me an acknowledgement, that would be great. Fayaz, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, just posting.
Yeah. So I'll just take 30 minutes. There will be one survey posted in your chat window. It's on the role that you're playing in the current organization.
Yeah, we are getting some response.
Yeah, I mean, we'll wait for 30 seconds. After that, Fayaz, if you can give me a broader trend, that will help me. Have you got any broader trends, Fayaz?
Yeah.
Any responses? Yeah.
Yeah, so we have around 60% IT administrators here, then followed by 30% of others. I think you can mention that in the chat. Apart from that, we have 11% of places sponsors. So that's how it is mostly distributed. Human resource and real estate to 2%.
Got it. Got it. So one of the reasons that I want to understand this better is that there are certain areas where it will be super interesting for IT admins, and there are certain areas where it will be important for real estate and facilities. So maybe I'll stress upon those areas, given that this crowd is mostly into IT admin and they're really interested in places as such. Maybe I'll focus a lot on that, right? Maybe I'll start with this particular character, right? Let's go and meet Emma. Emma is a REF manager here, and is managing a large corporate, having a 10,000 plus employees, having teams distributed across geos and different departments, right? I know that REF count is a little less here, but you could consider the same for IT admins as well, right? Anybody who is managing the space or equipments in this space, probably this will fit into their role, right? And as a part of the responsibilities, right, Emma is responsible for a couple of things when it comes to spaces, right? Emma is responsible to managing the spaces. Emma is responsible to addressing some of the customers' feedback that is coming from employees saying that, hey, I need a room, I'm not able to find a room, I'm not able to find a room which is equipped with so and so devices or amenities. So all those things falls under Emma, and Emma also has to kind of manage daily operations and long-term planning. So essentially, Emma is looking at like, okay, that's a space allocated to her. How does she run this space in a much more effective manner, right? That's an over goal for Emma. And before hybrid, right, if you really go back few years, if you really think about it, the Emma's job was highly organized and she was super productive. Primarily, some of the core questions that needs to be answered were readily available to her, right? In terms of like how many people are coming into the building and why do they come to building, how many seats that Emma needs to provide for each of the organizations or departments in this particular building, or how many rooms do they even need, right? Do needs any sort of equipments or not, or most of the rooms are going to be used for one-on-one. So all those things, all those data points are highly available for Emma because the standards were already established and more or less it was predictable for her to do the job, right? But after hybrid, what has happened is that the day for Emma or day-to-day life has become a little bit more chaotic and ineffective, primarily because of the same reason, because of some of the questions that were answered clearly before hybrid world, it's not very clear right now, right? When somebody's asking you, right, how many people are coming into this building, it's very hard for somebody to assess and answer today because the hybrid policies are changing, the user behaviors are changing every month. So it is really hard for people to predict how many people are going to come to a building. And even though when you can assess how many people are going to come to a building, it's very hard to even predict what's the purpose of these visits, right? Most of the people now try to kind of work a lot from home for some reason. Some people might be working from home because they want focus work done. But that's a different set of people who want to come to office and get their job done, who are having kids and larger families at home. They want to come to office and get the same job done, that want to do a focus work over there. So it's hard. It's become more and more hard for people to go ahead and predict on one number of people coming to the buildings, and once they come to the building, what exactly are they going to do in this building, right? So we are in this uncertain or unpredictable world. To add much more woes at this point of time, wherever economy is heading, the clear expectation from people who are managing the IT infra or who is managing the larger budgets, right? The expectation from them is to one, optimize the space, or for that matter, for IT admins, it's all along the lines of how do we optimize the investments that you're going to make on these spaces? How do we reduce the cost? But still, you have to try and keep everyone happy. So there are no trade-offs here. You need to go ahead and make this happen. And that's the expectation on all these people. And there's a question that we're going to answer over the course of this demo, as well as kind of slide walkthrough, is to understand, can places help Emma to be much more organized and productive and go back to her older self, right? Can she redeem herself? Now let's get into the product itself, right? For space analytics, there are 3 stages through which you can go ahead and unlock the entire value of analytics, right? The first thing, it always starts with onboarding. For places all up, you need to onboard places. And for analytics, you need to onboard a certain set of signals, right? If you want to understand about room occupancy, room utilization, obviously we need to go ahead and give in signals so that we can get those signals and present it in such a manner so that you can understand how the rooms are being utilized. So the first stage is always to onboard the places which are really important for you to go ahead and assess. The second step, once you have onboarded in the signal, will help you analyze the data. So we'll help you understand how the different spaces are being used. Today, we are focused on 3 specific space types: buildings, rooms, and desks. That's where we are starting. We'll keep on expanding as we go ahead. But these 3 are the places that we first want to analyze. And once we analyze, we want to help you optimize that space as well, right? We don't want to just give you the data, give you the dashboards. We want to help you plan and optimize the space as well. So these three are the stages, and these are the stages through which you're going to unlock the value. Now, when we're talking about analytics, once you have onboarded all these signals and once you're in that analyze phase, right, there are three things that you could possibly do for any space type, whether it is buildings, rooms, or desk pools. Once you've got the data in, the first thing that you're going to unlock is to know your space. When you're showing the demo, we will discuss a little bit more about it. It's about understanding what are the spaces that you have, what are the amenities that you have in these spaces. First thing is to get the context of the space. And the next thing is to help you understand what's the baseline utilization rate of these places, right? So rooms, buildings, and desks, all of this has some sort of a baseline utilization rates. We will help you understand that. And we'll also help you track the historical numbers, helping you give a good understanding of have the trends been shifting or it has been stable over the last 3 months and how it has been. So you start tracking the historical trends as well. And when it comes to all these different spaces, there are two types of data points that we're going to provide for utilization. One is intent-based utilization. The second one is an actual utilization. Intent-based is the intent shown by the employees. For buildings, it's going to be work plans. For rooms, it's reservations. For desk pools, again, it is reservations. So for all these spaces, right, all of these space types, there's a certain intent that is being expressed by the end users. We're going to capture that and we're going to tell you that, hey, this is what the user intent has been. But there is always an actual reality, which in many cases might not match with the intent. Our objective is always to go ahead and match intent and actuals so that you can create workplace policies which are much more effective. Right, so we're going to show both these data points for all these different space types, and you can track the historical trends as well. Once you understand this, once you get a grip of baseline numbers and how the trends have been, and now every organization, based on the context that the organization is in where it is today, they'll have a certain goal in terms of where they want to reach. What is the utilization rate that we want to reach? And for that to happen, you need to go ahead and optimize the usage, either through policies or either through space reductions. There are different ways through which we're going to help you optimize, but that's the end state, right? So these three are broadly the values that you can pick, right? Know your space, track the trends, and optimize. Now I'll go through each of these three space types and what is the value that we are delivering across these three space types, and then we'll get into much more discussions. So first is like building analytics, right? Building analytics has four larger values. Let's start with the first one, right? Started with talking about hybrid world, and the first thing that we want to understand is what are the hybrid trends, right? Say like I have a building full of 1,000 members, and how these 1,000 members are coming into the building? Are half of them working remotely, or half of them coming to the building, or is it like most of the people are coming to the building? So first thing is to understand what is the hybrid trend that is today and what it has been in the past. And again, based on two things that you can measure, one through work plan. Work plan helps employees tell them saying that, hey, they're coming to office or they're coming to, they're going to work from remote. Work plans are really going to be helpful, one for the colleagues to plan their daily activities or when they want to come to office. But also on the other hand, for people who don't have this actuals, right? For example, in Europe or some of the regions, people generally don't track using badge data or any of the actual signals. In those cases, work plan is a good enough proxy for people to go ahead and understand how people are planning to work, right? So that's the first thing that you're going to get out. The next thing is to help track the building occupancy number through work plan adoption, right? So this work plan adoption, you might have already heard from the collaborate pillar, which helps people plan when they want to come to office. And this is more like a team-wide activity. If most of the members in the team are adopting work plan and going ahead and adhering to the work plan, then this is the biggest signal which can help people come together, collaborate, and be much more productive and effective in buildings, right? In office spaces. So we are tracking that. And as you could see, we also track it based on the leader levels. So if you get a signal saying that if you onboard leader-based data, we'll be able to help you understand, hey, how the work plan adoption rates are there for different set of leaders. And there's always an opportunity to go ahead and improve these numbers. I'm going to talk about it at the end. But the first one is hybrid trends. The second one is work plan adoption and adherence. Third one is going to be a building occupancy. We just want to understand what are the footfalls going to be, which is the bread and butter for many of the real estate folks. So you'll be able to understand it from work plan. You'll be able to understand it from batch data. We also provide one more signal, which we call it as a remote work detector through M365 signals, right? M365 IP signals, we'll be able to provide you that data. But all in all, you'll be able to understand the number of footfalls it's going to happen in a building through intent and actuals. And finally, work plan being the most important capability for places, there is always an opportunity for you to go ahead and improve the work plan adoption through leaders, right? So work plan as a feature, you expect people to go ahead and adopt it organically. But in many cases, or in organizations where top-down approaches work, where leader guidances work, there is always an opportunity for uh, admins or places sponsors to go ahead and request a particular push from the leaders to make it happen. So this is an effort towards that where people can go ahead and ask a specific leader to go ahead and set some guidelines so that using guidance, there is a specific feature called as guidance. When the leaders set guidance, other people can go ahead and follow that guidance. And that improves the work plan adoption number. That helps real estate admins and other admins plan their daily operations as work plan helps them understand how many people are going to come to office. That's broadly about building analytics. Jumping to room analytics. Saraswati, you want to pick from here?
Yeah, sure. You'll change the slides as and when, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And note the chat also. If there are any questions, you can bring that up as and when required. Okay. So room analytics today is slightly different in the context of hybrid environments. So we have many meetings happening with more hybrid presence, in the sense that some are present in the room and some actually log in through the online meetings. Now, with this in mind, right, the way we've put together the room analytics is as Nav discussed before, we have these two things where you show the intent for someone to use a room uh, with the reservation information, and then you have the occupancy information that shows how people actually utilize the rooms that have been reserved. So what we show you is a side-by-side analysis of reservation versus occupancy and the trends based on the room capacity. Now, what that would help you do is it will basically give you insights into how rooms are being used. That will help you maximize your space efficiency. And with that insight, so if you see underutilized rooms, you can essentially look at why it is being underutilized. Is it because people are reserving and not occupying? And if you see highly utilized rooms, you can see what are the things that make that room more popular than the others in terms of amenities, and then you can mirror that across the lesser popular rooms. And most importantly, with these trends, what you could do is to make sure that you set the right booking policies, make sure that the rooms are available at the right time so that you can minimize all the booking conflicts. So if you look here, the reservation trends is basically shown by integrating with the booking system here in Exchange. And then your occupancy comes from integrating with signals. So what we do readily is we integrate with the Teams call records, the meeting signals. And then we also provide a way by which you can upload your third-party sensor data, whether it's WordSense or any other third-party data. With a file upload, you could upload that data and you would start seeing the occupancy analysis as well. So go to the next slide. The other thing that you could do is to understand how meetings happen across different rooms based on the capacity, so you can identify if there is potential scope for optimization in terms of how whether there is a match between the number of people who take up a specific meeting room size. One of the things where we give opportunity to optimize is what we do is we do an occupancy analysis. If you go to the next slide, Nav. We show you the distribution between across different rooms, what the reservation rate is and what the average occupancy rate is, as well as there are graphs in there that show you what is the percentage of rooms across the entire building that have the reservation but not occupied. So you can potentially see your no-show rate. And what we do is we attach an action where you can recommend auto release to IT admins to say, hey, these are the set of rooms that have no-show rates, and there is scope for releasing hours for meeting bookings. And that goes as an email to IT admins, who can then go ahead and set the auto release on those specific rooms. You want to move to the next slide? Similarly, we follow the same thing for Deskpool analytics. So you get the reservation, so basically get the intent graphs, the ones that shows the reservation trend with your reservation information and the occupancy with your attendance data. So we leverage the attendance as a proxy for the desk occupancy, because not many people install sensors on every desk, right? It's very expensive. So we show similar trends for desk pools as well, along with the no-show trends in terms of what's the reservation percentage versus the occupancy. So what that helps with is if we integrate seamlessly with the existing booking systems as well as the signals across with the sensors, then you would get a thorough analysis of what the difference is between your reservation versus the occupancy, both for rooms and desks. I'll pause for
Got it.
questions. I think there are questions here.
You want to take time Q&A, Saraswati? Probably.
Yeah, sure.
That's the best
Yeah,
way to
I'll
do it.
just note them
Let's
down.
keep track of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I'll
can
quickly
play the
do this
demo. Yeah.
video. It's gonna be like, yeah.
Make the most out of
Able to hear the sound?
your workspace with Space Analytics. Optimize the usage of your buildings, rooms, and desks to boost productivity. Let's break it down. Whether it's improving space efficiency, cutting costs, or reviewing work plans, Building Analytics helps you make informed decisions, analyze building attendance and office visit frequency over time, and get in-depth insights from Copilot. Discover hybrid work trends to effectively repurpose underused spaces. Struggling to find the right meeting room? Save the day with Room Analytics. Track reservation trends, usage patterns, and time lost to unoccupied bookings, helping you ensure optimal room use and implement smarter booking policies. Some rooms more popular than others? Identify amenities that drive room usage and upgrade underutilized rooms to make the most of your space. Boost on-site employee satisfaction with Deskpool Analytics. Get a complete view of available desks. Understand desk reservation and usage trends to ensure ample space and increase productivity. Looking to pinpoint desk usage within teams? Use filters to focus on specific desk pools, uncovering busy areas and repurposing ones that are less used. By combining insights from building, room, and desk pool analytics, and with Copilot by your side, you can create a cohesive strategy for data-driven actions like never before. Start making informed decisions today and transform your workplace with Microsoft Places.
I'll quickly talk through this. So how do you get analytics, right? First thing is to opt into the preview. Most of you might be aware of what the preview entails. Analytics is part of the preview bundle, so you have to opt into preview. You have to onboard specific set of places and signals for which you need to have analytics. Then you need to onboard the right set of users. We recommend to onboard real estate facilities and IT admins to onboard to this particular portal. And finally, you have to enable the buildings which are required to be there in the dashboard. So that fourth step is many people are missing out these days. So just make sure that you are going ahead and enabling the buildings which are required to be powered by analytics as well, so that all the users can see the buildings. Yeah, just before getting into the demo right now, by now you would have understood how Places is going to help somebody like Emma who wants to understand how many people are coming into the building and how frequently people are coming into the building and what are the hybrid trends. Do people have enough rooms to go ahead and make their work happen? Do people have enough desks, right? So today for desk, we are just covering Deskpool, but we'll be covering the entire desk as well. So the idea is to cover all these space types and give holistic view of what's happening inside the building once people come to this building. Broadly, we have few resources there at the end of the. It's about how do you go ahead and deploy. We can share it offline as well if you want. But yeah, we'll get into the demo. We'll spend next 10-15 minutes in the demo and we'll take the Q&A. Yeah, this is a landing page for analytics. If you're coming for the first time, it will ask you to kind of pick the location, and probably for the first time, you will be landing up on the employee experiences. You can use this toggle bar and click on admin to come to the admin. If you're not seeing this, admin, then it means that you are not added to the security group. So you can get in touch with the places sponsors or the IT admins who are managing this places product to get yourself added to the analytics SG. Once you get added, you will have this option. Click on this option, you will land in this particular homepage and pick the location that you're interested in. It's a drop down. You can quickly go ahead and search and pick the location that you're interested in. Then obviously you can pick the days, right? Today we are supporting last 7 days, 30 days, and 90-day window. You'll see the data for last 90 days, the current version, right? Once you select the building, the first thing that you're going to notice is the know your space, as I was talking about when I was giving the demo. This strip gives you a quick context about this particular building. It starts with the headcount. The headcount data comes directly from the people data set, profile API. Most of you people, IT admins, will be knowing about the people profile API, which is powering the people card. And if you're into Viva, it is powering Viva as well. So we get this headcount information from people data. And one condition that has to be matched is like the data in the profile data set and places directory building name should match. Once there is a match, we will directly pull this count. And based on the places that you onboard for this specific building, we'll be able to fill in the rooms, desks, and all these floor details. This gives you a quick context of the building. And the next thing that you're going to notice is the baseline numbers, which I was talking about when I was giving the demo. It's like quickly get an understanding of what's the current baseline utilization rates for all these space types, building, rooms, and Deskpool. For building, you start with work plan attendance. This data completely comes out of the box based on how the work plan gets adopted in your organization. The actual attendance comes from the batch data or the remote work detector. Remote work detector is nothing but it's M365 signal. You'll be able to understand who is there in office. So that will be available for us to understand the actual attendance. The room reservation rate comes out of the box using the room reservation system, exchange system. For utilization rates, you can onboard 3P signals. If you have already installed sensors in the rooms, you can obviously onboard them. Once you onboard those signals, this data will be available. For Deskpool, again, we have reservation data. And for utilization, we are using building utilization as a proxy for Deskpool utilization. Particularly the actual attendance is used as a proxy to fill in Deskpool utilization as well, right? So that gives you a quick view of what's the current state of all these different space types. And if you want to know more, there is a help section. There's like more like a small snippet of videos that will be available for you to consume. Quickly, you can go ahead and consume this. Like very specific videos are available for you to consume. You can consume that. Once you get a quick context on this page, now you can pick and choose where you want to visit, right? Depending on your interest, depending on the numbers that you feel is an anomaly or that you want to analyze, you can quickly go there. Say that I start with building utilization. Let's click on view report and I'll enter building analytics. And it briefly gives you a context on those buildings, right? What's the headcount flows, which we saw before. And the first section here covers the number of footfalls happening in this building. Again, there are two ways to measure this, one through work plan, one through actual attendance. In many cases, out of the box, we won't be having actual attendance because you have to onboard signals for us to understand actual attendance, but you will be getting this work plan based trends out of the box. You'll be able to understand if, say, like most of the people in a specific building have adopted work plan, you'll be able to understand how people are coming into this building and which particular day is popular for people to come into building. And all those things we'll be able to understand. And if you want to filter, you can see here Saturday, Sunday, every day is available here. If you want to filter only for weekdays, you can go to filters and you can pick only the weekdays that you want to measure the numbers again. So you can pick these days, work days, and apply the filter. And you could see the changes in numbers here. Broadly, the first section talks about building occupancy. And the next one talks about adherence of work plan. So now that you understand how many people are coming into the building, the next step is to understand how frequently are these people coming into the building, right? Are people coming in most of the times in the week or people coming in only a few times in a week? This is a report that's going to help you understand how the population is split across frequency. And this is also going to help you understand how the work plan and the actual frequency are actually mapped against each other. So whether people who are declaring, are they following the declarations or it has very high deviations. In this report, you could see there is a very small deviation in terms of how things are happening. There are only very few people saying that they're going to come 1 day per week, but in actual, That's the biggest percentage, right? 40% of the people, close to 40% of the people are coming only once in a week. So you'll be able to kind of compare and understand what's the delta between work plan and the actual attendance when it comes to how frequently are people coming to office. The reason this chart becomes super important, and you could also track the trend for this, is that most of the workplace policies today are set at a week level. Say, like for a hybrid policy, people will be saying that you should be coming to office more than 3 times a day, so that probably you get more perks, like you will get assigned a seat only when you come to office more than 3 times a day. If you're coming to office less than 3 times a day, probably you will be getting only a hot seat, hot desk. In many cases, in many organizations, there's a strict mandate as well, right? People are expected to come 3 days in a week. So for all these things, it will be able to kind of derive insights within this specific section, which talks about work plan adherence. And finally, we also have something called as hybrid trends, with which we started our whole building story. You'll be able to understand how the hybrid trends are fluctuating, right? So just because there's a Saturday and Sunday, you see there's a lot of fluctuations. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit more stable. And there could be a trend of increasing trend in people coming to office, decreasing trend in people going remote, and all those things you would be able to infer. Again, if it is not possible for the folks to onboard the signals and make use of actuals data to understand this trend, the good advantage that work plan provides is that if people can stick to their plans, and if the most number of people in the building adopts work plan, this becomes a proxy for you to go ahead and plan your daily operations as well. And the beautiful thing about work plan is that we could also help you assess how the future looks like, right? So people can set up work plan as a routine, so you'll be able to understand how the routine is reflected for the future days as well. For all these things, you'll be having a summary card which gives you a gist of average numbers, get a quick understanding of this, and then you would be able to see the trend as well. You can give us feedback by using this. For every chart has this feedback. Is this hard helpful? Yes or no? And if you want to share it with others, you can click on this and share it with others as well. Broadly, these are the values that we provide. Hybrid trends, building occupancy, work plan adherence reports, helping you compare between work plan adoption and adherence. So a few of the visuals that we have shown during the demo, during the walkthrough of taking an action at a leader level, those things are going to be a follow-up. But today what you can do is that you can still go to filters, and you can actually kind of filter at a leader level and actually kind of apply the filter to understand how people under a specific leader are coming into a building. Right? This gives you a quick understanding of how Alice's organization is coming into NYC Times Square. So that's a leader-based filter as well. Again, this leader data is coming from people profile data. So for now, we support till leader 4 level. L0 being a CEO, you can track from there. L1 is going to be a just direct for CEO. L2 will be a layer below. So there are 4 levels that we are tracking. And the other quick info is, like, when you don't have data, you'll be having these symbols saying that the data is not available. If you want this data, get in touch with the IT admins or the admins who are managing places to onboard some of the signals. We have support documentation to onboard. You can make use of that documentation to onboard these signals. Yeah, Saraswati, do you want to take it forward for room analytics, Deskpool analytics?
Yeah, sure. If you look at room analytics, it follows pretty much the same pattern that we have for building analytics, as well as the other resource analytics that you see here. Typically, it starts with explore your space, meaning you understand the lay of the land, you understand how your rooms are set up, which have occupancy sensors, what are the amenities that are distributed across the rooms, as well as the capacity. And then you start to look at trends, where for a specific time period that you've selected, whether it's for the last 30 days or 90 days, you can drill down at the flow level as well. You basically see the reservation trend across that time period, as well as the occupancy. And what you would see right off the bat is a few things. You would see where the utilization is either above or below the threshold. Here we have a set 20% and 80%. So you would know on which specific days or which specific hours your rooms are underutilized or overutilized. So that gives you a quick read of what's going on at that specific flow. So first you would see it as a daily trend across reservation and occupancy, and then you would see it across the hours. So what that would help you do is to identify when are your peak days and when are your peak hours, in case you're planning, whether it's you're scheduling your maintenance or your events. It'll help you understand which are the pockets of time where you know that it's the busiest. If you go down, Nav, you will be able to, let's say you can select a specific day. If you select a specific bar, let's say 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. or any other bar that you select, you'll be able to drill down into that specific time slot and see the breakup between the rooms. So you know which room actually contributes to that specific percentage of reservation or occupancy. So if you have a specific problem that you want to troubleshoot and you want to know which is the one that's the troublemaker, you basically go drill down onto that bar and you can see the distribution and say, hey, okay, it looks like room number 9 seems to be reserved the most on this specific day, which is why people were not able to find a room on that day. So in that way, you can actually go in and see more details within that specific trend as well. If you go down more, you would see the split between the exact thing that I was talking about, where you can see where it's been used, it's been reserved and occupied, and the reserved and not occupied is the one that's the no shows, where you leverage the signals. Unless you upload your signal sensor signals, you will not be able to see this level of analysis. You'll only be able to see the reserved data. And there's the other concept of ad hoc occupancy, where people just randomly start using the room without reservation, which is the not reserved and occupied slot. So it gives you a distribution of how much of how people are leveraging and using these rooms. Are there more no shows? Are there more ad hoc occupancies? So that will help you set the right booking policies in terms of the advanced lead time for booking and your auto release as well. If you want to see where are the areas that you want to improve, if you go down, you can see the split of specific rooms and their reservation rate and occupancy rate across the entire time period that's selected, as well as you can see the distribution of how effective it is across capacity. So if you go down, you can see for a specific room capacity, what are the average meeting duration that happens in those meeting room sizes, as well as the number of meetings that happen. And what that helps you do is so if you have longer meetings, let's say in certain room sizes, you will realize that you would need, more comfortable spaces for longer discussions. So it helps you define the right setup based on how the meetings happen in these different room capacities. The other thing that you can do also is, if you see on the right, there are filters. You can filter this exact set of visualizations across days as well as work hours. Between, like, here standards default set from 8 to 6, but you can change that time and see how the distribution looks like based on how different teams come into work for their work hours. Same with Deskpool. So in the interest of time, Deskpool analytics is also very similar. You would basically see again, the label and how many desk pools you have configured. So desk pool is basically a pool of bookable desks. So you see how many desk pools have been configured. Out of them, what is the distribution of the capacity of those desk pools? And the similar trends in terms of how they're being reserved and how they are occupied, both from a daily perspective. And you can also see the distribution of the occupancy and reservation analysis, as well as the individual desk pool occupancy and reservation rates. So what this would help you is, first understand the overall utilization. It'll help you understand where your spaces are underutilized and overutilized, which rooms in specific, and how they are being used. And if you have a problem, you can basically drill down and get to see where exactly the problem is, whether the amenities are down, and then you can go ahead and fix that outside of the product. So that's the broad room analytics and desk pool analytics insights we have.